give Dr. Sik a round of applause as he comes forward to come and take this very, very, very interesting topic, leading in the age of remote work. You are very welcome, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Yes, thank you. The clicker.
Good morning. I say good morning, Before I say I know they greet. How are we doing today? Great. So, so I think I have an hour or so to have this conversation with us. Am I loud enough? Okay. Yeah, so let me start by saying that, can I have the clicker, please? Do you have it? My name is Silk Ogbu. And I'm an associate professor at the Lagos Business School. I teach at the Lagos Business School. I teach management communication. I also teach organizational leadership. I teach a few other things, including conflict management, negotiation. I teach a little bit of marketing and branding. I also teach a lot of things around political communication, public communication, rhetorical communication, and the soft skills around leadership. A lot of my colleagues tell me that they have always wanted to teach. So naturally, they have come to the position where they are because they plan to be there. I never planned to teach. Teaching was not something that I looked forward to when I was going to school. And I didn't like how my teachers were dressed. They didn't drive the right kind of cars. I was not inspired. By any of those things. So I went to look for money, like most of us. Yeah, so that was my own story. And so I spent a lot of time in the private sector doing business. And I grew my business over the years. And over that period, I've also managed a lot of companies. I've been managing director of 5 companies, and 2 of them actually were in the public sector. So I moved from the private sector to the public sector. And when I got to the public sector, I became frustrated with how things were happening. I had ideas about how to change the world. And I thought I was doing a little bit of that with my business. But in the public sector, it's a totally different story. So I wanted to get more involved, so I ran for office. Because I moved from several positions in the public sector, several appointments, and I now put myself out there. So in 2011, I ran for office. I ran for Senate in 2011. And when I lost that election, I started talking too much. Out of heartbreak, I started talking too much. I'll just go around and be lamenting. When people meet me and they want to have a normal conversation, I'll start the story of my life. Do you know that people in Nigeria, you cannot trust them? They will definitely betray you. So after a while, my wife, she was very understanding. But after a while, she said, do you know you're making people uncomfortable around you? Now you talk a lot. You used to be very quiet. Why don't you just go out and then maybe see if you can talk to more people as a way of... So I was asking, what do you mean? She said, well, there's a school there, not very far from us. You can go and offer to teach something. It takes you away from the house, and then maybe you can start talking about elections and betrayal. Yeah. So that's how I got into this business of teaching. And I think it's been very, very fulfilling and rewarding. Yeah? It's been very fulfilling and rewarding. So I would say that, yeah, while I was in the private sector and I was doing business, I was also studying. That's the thing. But out of curiosity, I wanted to learn. And my first area of expertise is in political science. My first PhD is in political science and international relations. That's where I started from. But my business was more in the area of marketing, selling stuff. So I went back to school again because I wanted to be empowered in that area of business. So I studied again, and I earned another PhD in marketing and public relations. When I got to the public sector, and I became very frustrated, I thought there was something I was missing. So I went back to school and studied again, and I obtained a third PhD in public administration and human resources management. And now I'm still unable to resolve a lot of conflicts around my business, around my work, around the people that I relate with. So I've gone back to school again. And I'm studying for the fourth PhD in conflict resolution. So people think I'm crazy, especially my wife. She thinks there's something wrong with me. But, well, it's not that I like book too much. I think the story is about getting a voice. I wanted to have a voice. And when I realized that the first step I took gave me a voice, people started listening to me. Not because I had money in my pocket or because I was from here or there, but because they believe I had something meaningful to contribute to a contribution, to a conversation. Sometimes I really don't have. But that assumption was in my favor, that because he has doctorate degree, he's smart. You know that, right? And I found it was a very big opportunity, and I continued to expand that advantage. And now that I've found myself teaching, I've now realized how that investment, is now beginning to pay off. So I think that this is a very interesting conversation for us to have. What I do when I teach is that I bring the experiences that I've had to the table, and we share. I think I facilitate. I don't really teach, because we bring those ideas, we exchange, because I think that it's more about how do we make things better. And nobody has all that knowledge. So my students, and I teach PhD students, I teach master's students, I've never taught undergraduate students, are usually experienced. They know what they want. They are looking for information that they can apply directly to what they are doing to improve their work, not theories. So they want to leave that session to go back to what they are doing and get results. I'm hoping that as we have this conversation today around leading the remote workforce, we'll come up with some solutions about how we can improve the process, how we can get better results, what we can take away from here that will directly help us to do better. Is that okay? Are we together? So can the ministry move? Okay. So we're going to look at, this is what we're going to do in a few minutes that we have. We'll try to understand what remote working is about. We will look at the driving forces. Why are we moving in this direction? The adoption of remote work, why are we driving towards this direction? Are there some challenges that we're already experiencing in this direction? What are those challenges? We also think about some tips. Most of us are already working remotely. Are there a few things that we can do to make it easier for us, to improve our performance, to drive results. Then we'll move a little bit further to discuss leading remote workers. Because as executives, you have to lead. You have to lead. What are the dynamics here in this space? What are the things that we can do? Because it's an evolving space. Then we will end with the benefits of remote work. Can we do this together? Yeah? Okay. So let me start by saying that when we talk about remote working, it's been around for a while. But as most of us know, the pandemic pushed the needle further. Is that not correct? Yeah. Before 2020, people were already talking about it, especially knowledge workers, those who are very competent in their area of work. I used to, before I moved to Lagos Business School, I used to teach at the School of Media and Communication, also in Pan Atlantic University. And that is at our main campus. I don't know if any of you know the Pan Atlantic. Yeah, that's our main campus. I had issues because of the road, how bad that road is. Any of us live around there, Awuyaya area? Anybody here? People are going through stuff. Sometimes in the last 2 or 3 months, people spend like 5 hours. They get up by 5 a.m. in the morning, and they don't get to VI until 1. Sometimes 12. I have a colleague who lives around Awuyaya. To get to Lekki, to get to LBS, he leaves 5:30 in the morning, hoping to get to the school and take a class for 9. Usually, this journey should take 15 minutes. And the last time, he got there about 25 minutes to 12. And this guy is close to 60. So you can imagine the stress, what he was going through. That's the kind of stress I went through, going back and forth. Because I live in VGC and I have to go all the way to Ibejuleki. I was getting frustrated. So I started talking to our people. Listen, we have to think about a way to go around the problem. We must think of a way to go around the problem. Because if I spend 3 hours coming to work, and I'm going to spend another 3 hours going back home, how much am I able to produce? How productive can I be? Because that's 6 hours gone. And I spend 1 hour going to eat, that's 7 hours. Then people stroll into my office casually to have a conversation, and they waste a lot of time, that's 8 hours. So what have I done with the day? And when you go through the driving, the tension, it's not just that you waste time. The anxiety of driving through, you know how we drive in Lagos? You'll be driving your car and you're driving the car of the next person. I don't know. When I go through that stress, I lose all my productivity. See, everything just goes. So I started to argue, even by 2019, before the pandemic, that we must come up with a way around this. I don't have to come to work every day. Because then as a senior lecturer, I had students that I was supervising. I was head of department. I don't stop working when I get home. I continue all through the night. I do my research all through the night. So why do I have to come just so that people can see me and say, okay, he was here today? I can do a lot more, when I work from home, and come in when it's necessary for me to do so. So people have started to argue that this makes a lot of sense. I was part of that campaign before 2019. But suddenly, COVID came and was. There was a race. Most organizations saw that there was no way to continue if we don't go remote. So a lot of people were pushed to make these changes. Changes that we were campaigning for now suddenly became possible. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't easy for a lot of companies. I'm not sure that it's still easy. People are still struggling with that. Because moving to remote work requires a lot of things: infrastructure, technology. How do you work through all that? So people experience a lot of challenges. But today, 3 years later, where are we? Where are we? Is it easier? It's easier, right? We're making progress. We're making progress. Now it's almost normal. It's almost normal to say, yes, we're going to have 2 days in, 2 days at home, or 2 days remote. Prior to this time, it would be shocking to tell somebody that I'm working from home. They'll be wondering, what do you, so I will pay you to be at home? So I'm going to pay you because you're at home? But this is where we are. So what is remote working, guys? How are we going to define that? I need a microphone because I want my people to be talking to me. Can I get a microphone? Yes. Please define remote work. How are you going to be able to describe it? And it doesn't have to be academic. Tell me what you think. Now that we've experienced it, and some of us are managing remote workers, who wants to, yeah. What is it?
So I'll define it as work done outside the four walls of an office. Typically, work done outside it should be considered remote.
Any work done outside should be considered remote. It makes sense. Yes? Anybody else? You want to add anything to it? Yes, sir. Yeah, let's start from.
So just to add to what she said, so remote work is work done outside the official company location. So the official company building, work done in a different environment.
Yes, there's something I'm looking for. Yes.
Okay, so remote work is work that is not confined to your location and is not constrained by your mobility.
Fantastic.
For me, that's what remote work is.
Okay, fantastic. Can somebody add something? There's still something I'm looking for in this definition. Yes.
I think not constrained by time too.
It's not constrained by time. That's another important addition. Yes. Yes.
Being able to offer value from anywhere you are.
Being able to offer value. I like that one. Because value is the language of business. Yes. Anybody else? Can we add something to this definition? Yes. You want to try?
So I would say it's a work that allows you to work virtually.
Yes.
And also you control your time, so you can do freelance. You don't have to get like full pay.
Yeah.
You can work part-time, and it doesn't have to also be from the office like they say. It could be from anywhere, but you determine how much you want and where you want to and how you want to do it. So I would say virtual and pay negotiation.
Negotiation, virtuality. Interesting. I like this class. Yeah, I've not found the word yet. I've not found the word yet. Yes. Okay. You want to add that word? Yes.
I wanted to say that remote work is the kind of work that you do that gives you the flexibility and adaptability of time, location, organization, and pay. Or maybe days as well, duration.
Duration, time. We have said a lot of things here. Time, duration, flexibility, results. Yes. There's this my uncle, My uncle he didn't go to a formal school. But he's a very intelligent man and very passionate as well. So what happens is that he engages you in a conversation and makes a lot of sense. But he also validates you when you make sense as well. And he captures that resonance in a dramatic, passionate way as well. So when the point is dropping, my uncle will capture the point with drama, but with a lot of power. As the point is dropping, he just says, "Bam there." Bam. That's the way that he demonstrates it. So I'm looking for someone I'm going to give that bam. Just one thing that is missing from this definition. Yes, you want to take the bam. Yeah.
I wanted to add that remote work is work that depends heavily on technology to get done.
That's the bam. Please give her bam. Fantastic. It depends a lot on technology. We are leveraging technology. Yeah. It's outside the place, so there's flexibility. Outside the workspace, there's flexibility. But how are we able to get that to work? We need technology. We depend on technology, right? So remote working is also known as teleworking, telecommuting, anywhere work, distributed work. People are different kinds of things. Yeah? There are different ways of describing it. And when you go through literature, they're all saying the same thing. The emphasis is on technology, using technology to, leveraging technology to achieve results in different ways, in a flexible way. Some part of the hours are not within the office premises. However, we're able to do same things, right? So, yeah, a lot of people have now decided to focus on remote working. Maybe because it sounds more modern. Is that not true? Yeah, but Americans still use teleworking, telecommuting, anywhere work, and all kinds of things. But whatever we use, we're still describing the same thing, just to be clear. So what are the forces that are driving this remote working? Yes, microphone, please come. She wants my bum. She wants one bum. Yeah.
So digital acceleration and also digital skills, those are the forces I feel that must be present in remote working.
Does she deserve bum? Then please give the bum from the... If she deserves bum, then give her bum, please. Yes, I totally agree with you. Thank you for that wonderful contribution. What are the forces? What are the things that are driving remote working for us? Yeah.
Just like you described, spending 3 hours going to work and 3 hours coming back.
Yeah.
The ability to get the best out of employees.
Yeah.
That instead of them spending unproductive hours commuting, that they can get up from their bed, get prepared, go to, say, somewhere in their room or a different room, and focus on work using technology like we've established. I think that's another factor that is driving this.
Productivity. That's a bomb. Do you agree with me? That's a bomb. Yes, thank you, sir.
For me, I would also say employees want better quality of life, which was brought upon by COVID.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a double bomb. I'm thinking that, that's because we're now seeing a change, a sudden shift in the workspace, even in the work culture. The generation that we're seeing today, they have a voice. They're asking for stuff. They have their rights. They know what they want. And we are now negotiating. Yes.
I would say
flexibility. Yeah.
I'm a mom of 3 children and I work as an EVA, so I work from the comfort of my home. So before then, I had a business, and once it's 3 o'clock, I'm always rushing to go and pick these children from school.
Yeah.
And due to the nature of my business, that's when customers are coming.
Yeah.
So I had to switch, and now I am there for my kids. I take care of my home, and I'm still doing my work, and I'm getting more things done and other stuff. So
fantastic. What can we give, please? No, it's not Mubam. It's not Mubam. Thank you. Yeah. Well, this didn't start today. In the 1970s, just like my Oga said, we had problems in the US, across the world, because of the sudden, rise in the price of crude oil. I don't know if you remember the oil crisis of the 1970s. That was when this big interest in remote working actually started. And just like now that we have to pay, how much are we paying again for fuel? Yeah? Are you feeling it? Are you feeling it in your pocket the way that I'm feeling it? So when it became difficult and people started to, feel the pinch, even organizations, they had to start thinking of a way out. How do we cool our premises, reduce the cost? How do we, reduce the cost of commuting from home to work? And of course, they found that telework was the way forward. But after a while, obviously the problem with the oil was solved, but the interest in teleworking did not disappear. From that 70s, it didn't disappear. People saw it as a way of improving performance. But today, we're seeing a lot of driving forces. Advances in technology, digital, how did you call it again? Digital acceleration, I like that word. Yeah? There's globalization. Companies are going global. In case you're not prepared, what you're doing today in the company where you're working, especially if you're in the private sector, can be taken over by another, even in an aggressive way. You can be bought over. Because a lot of companies are going global. So globalization is a very big force. Companies are growing, they're looking for spaces, they have to work from everywhere. There's also the issue of competition and business strategy. People are strategizing remote working to attract the right kind of talent, wherever they may be. Then we also see the demographic changes happening in the workforce. Today we have 5 generations in the workforce. You know that, right? It's not easy. It's not easy managing this. You see a Gen Z now. There are some companies where they say to us, it has to be on first name basis. And one lady said to me, I didn't have any issues with that until my daughter's friend came to intern in my organization. And, in the morning, she would see me, instead of saying, good morning, ma, like a proper Yoruba girl, brought up well. She said, hello, Gladys, how are you? She said the first time she greeted me like that, I turned around. Is it me that this girl is talking to? Then she remembered our company policy. So we are seeing demographic changes. And this is affecting the workplace, right? These Gen Zs, they want a different way of working. I went one time to supervise some of my students at a company here in Lekki. There were interns. I found that in their place of work, they had a room where people can sleep. You have that, right? They have a place where they can watch movie. They have a place where, they can play games. Then if they get tired, they go downstairs and they play basketball. They come back, they take a shower, and they continue to work. I said, hey. So when I came back and I was talking to my students, about the changes that I saw and what was happening, all of them were asked, okay, please, where is the address of this company? They all want to go there. So these changes are affecting the commuting costs and inconveniences. These are also the knowledge economy. We live in an era of knowledge economy. What is most important today is talent. And organizations will go anywhere to look for the talent. So if you have talent, you're very good at what you're doing, you don't even have to jabba. With remote working now, it's possible to hire you to work from here. One organization invited me to come and work in Canada. And I was thinking, at this my age, do I still want to live abroad again? Yeah? I've lived abroad for a very long time. You know, I started living abroad when I was 20. So I was not fascinated about moving. But the kind of money that they are talking about, I kept thinking about it. You know, I said, you know, so that's what I'm saying. With knowledge economy, all of us can benefit because of remote working. There's also work-life balance. So I like what you said about now you can take care of your family, can take care of your kids. This is also another driving force. And you don't have to worry. And, you know, there's cost effectiveness, there's social dialogue, right? However, are there challenges? Are there in the Nigerian context, are there challenges? Eh? Things are not what they seem. Eh? Uh-huh. Everything where they shine is not gold, Abby. So what are the challenges, guys? Microphone, please. These people seem to have a lot of challenges with. Let's start from this table first. Challenges plenty. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, let me just start from infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
Yes. So we have epileptic, technology supply, power supply, all of those little challenges. Before we now even go to the human beings in this our context.
Yeah.
The human beings in this context, depending on the sector and skill level, or should I say experience level of the employee.
Yeah.
As an employer, you might go through a lot of headache when there's remote working for some certain level of employees in your team.
Is that a BAM? Do you connect with this? Is that a double BAM? Then give the BAM now. Just give BAM. Thank you. Yeah, please go ahead.
I have a lot of challenges working, especially the fact that I'm working for international businesses.
Yeah.
And one of them is communication issues. We have a lot of
Fantastic.
communication issues,
Yeah.
you know. Another one would be internet connection. I have been kicked off an important meeting. Like, I was the one who, you know, like I was the one who was coordinating the meeting, and suddenly
Yeah.
the network just cut me off. And we have light issues. There are days when you know, I have laptop power banks, but there is no light to the extent that, and worst of, your generator will even have issues. It will be as if your village people are all ganging up against you. You know, you have, it has gotten so bad that international clients would want to interview you, and it becomes part of your interview questions. Do you have power backup? Do you have internet backup? And another one, yes, that you're from Nigeria. Another one would be the fact that I stay in my house from morning till night, and now I don't have any, you know, a desire to go out to meet people, you know, and then you are adding weight and, you know.
Please give three BAM. Let's say give three BAM. She wants to finish all the challenge. Please come to this table. I want. Some people have challenges here. Do we have any challenges that we are facing?
Sometimes it could lead to overworking. Overworking.
I can relate, yes.
And the lines become blurred when you start work, when you stop work.
That's a BAM. Is that a double BAM? So it's BAM. Please, let's go to this table. Yes. Difficulty on plugging from work.
All right,
Yes.
So on the flip side of the overworking thing,
Yeah.
for younger teams, it can also lead to lower productivity because of distractions.
Interesting. Please, what do we give to this Oga here? It's BAM. Let's come here, then, please. What are the challenges?
So for me, I think that not all leads or leadership is actually invested in remote work just yet. I think that some CEOs still find it hard to agree to remote work setting. That's one. Number two is tracking productivity. I think that somehow it's a bit difficult for you to track products. Some people still have the mindset of it's a case of when you clock in and when you clock out. And it's beyond that now. It's a case of putting processes in place to track productivity of different employees around the world.
Putting processes in place to track productivity, to monitor performance, to measure performance. That's a triple bomb. And we're gonna deal with some of yes. Then we'll come to this.
Please. I think with what she said.
You agree with her?
I agree with her, and people are kind of doubling. Like somebody does the interview, then another person is doing the job. That thing is becoming common these days.
Did you hear that? Impersonation. People are now impersonating. Another person, someone will come and do the interview, and then outsource the work. Nigerians, we have problems here in this country. Yes.
I would say distractions in form of pollution, noise pollution, depending on your area. You can just, maybe you happen to be in a meeting and somebody in the next house is saying, if you're in an area that's not serene, Iyabola, and all those things.
Please tell us which area do you stay in, please. Tell us, where have you experienced this? Ibaja. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It's a big problem. Yana Baja.
To add to what we've all discussed, one thing I've noticed is managing collaborative work. It's very challenging, especially with remote work, because it's when person A is ready to work on his deliverables, person B is yet to complete his deliverables, and because he needs that handoff to complete his task, everybody is not as productive as they should be.
Collaboration is a problem. Please come here. Collaboration is a problem. It's even difficult collaborating when you are face-to-face. Not to talk of when you are now dispersed, right? Yes. Okay. Yes, please go.
Yeah, people have already shared similar, but one I pride in is if you are, like, so I'm a father of 2 children, a toddler and a baby, and sometimes I'm in a meeting and my son, that's when my son knows he wants to climb my lap. So you don't look professional and stuff, especially when it's third-party meetings, not internal meetings.
Yes.
So I guess it's not something to complain about necessarily. I mean, the joy of children, but at the same time, they don't get it too.
They don't get it. They don't understand what you're talking about.
Exactly.
As far as they're concerned, that computer is a toy. All right. So let's come here finally, and then These challenges are the problem, so we really need to bring them out. Yes.
Okay, so I know how you talked about work-life balance, how remote work helps it. But I think it also blurs the line between work-life balance. At what point do you say to your husband, you're supposed to eat the lunch in the microwave, as you would if I had gone to the office. I don't need to come and start making you something else right now. So it kind of blurs the line, because they can see you and, you might just be, so why are you not doing what you should be doing? You're at home.
Yes. In fact, I propose triple one for Muiwa and you for bringing out those nuances at home. These things are very important. Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to say something about the when you cannot turn off the switch.
Yes.
Which is you're working, sometimes you don't even take your shower because sometimes you're trying to connect with Canada or China or something.
Yeah.
So you just find yourself on your seats almost till like 10 p.m. working back to back. So for me, what I'm going to say is mental health is one of the issues.
Mental health.
Mental health. She talked a little about it. It affects your social skills as well because you're not really relating with people outside.
Yes, that's a bomb. Some people just wear boxers down and then wear suit on top. Are you guilty? Are you guilty?
Yes.
Are we?
I think for me, 2 things, right? Some people don't just have the discipline of working from home. So you can be having a meeting with your team member. When you don't tell her to talk, you don't feel like she's in the market. You're like, they don't have that discipline. Some people just don't have the discipline.
Yeah.
Or some people, you are there, you're actually in a Zoom meeting, they're on their shower cap, their husband passes by with his out his shirt. You know that you're supposed to pass out sometimes in some meeting. So there's that discipline.
Yeah.
The second thing is how it affects relationship. You find that if you're an employer and you employed people and all they've done is remote, there's no relationship.
Yes.
When it's time for them to exit, they don't even think twice because they've not done that bonding has not happened. People don't know each other.
Yeah.
You can actually be on the street working with someone. You'll be seeing them on Zoom.
Yeah.
But when I say, oh, is that your name? Do you work in? Oh, we work in the same place. So real relationships are not happening. Real employee engagement is not happening. And that really affects retention. Of course, with Jackman and all that. So someone just send you a message. They never met you. They never built a relationship with you. So it's so easy for them to exit because there was never something more in it for them.
Yeah. That is a triple wham. Let me give her wham, wham, wham. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I think that, see, this is very, very important. We're bringing out the challenges. And even in our context, we can even identify some challenges like somebody in America may not even experience. Never experienced. Like, I mean, suddenly, what's this thing about network? Or suddenly that we don't have power. Yeah? They don't understand it, that you're supposed to be in a meeting and you say, my network suddenly went off. Or, yesterday, I was teaching a class and some of my students were joining online because it's a hybrid class, right? And it was time for a presentation, and somebody told me that, when it was my time to present, can you believe it, sir, that the network in the entire area collapsed? So there are all kinds of excuses that are coming up, right? But we really need to start dealing with these issues. There's also the issue of isolation, yeah? It can get a bit, so we've talked about work overload, burnout, lack of structure, infrastructure. These are the things that we have brought out. Internet access and connectivity issues. We have identified them. We can even add to this. Communication challenges. We're all experiencing that. Distractions, interruptions, just like we talked about, right? How do we deal with those issues? How do we separate the space so that the child will not come up and start playing with your mouse, and you're not telling, oh, stop that, keep that, stop that. You lose some professional. And unplugging from work. And then people are now beginning to have increased stress. What was supposed to be easy is now becoming a bit of a problem, right? There's also, somebody talked about mental health. Here, in this country, we don't think that is a problem. Mental health is a big issue. If you never craze day for road, without clothes, day naked, people think you're okay. There's a natural assumption that you are fine. But there are issues that people are dealing with, affecting them mentally, and they are not fine. And this is a situation that may even increase mental health complications. We also have issues around cybersecurity concerns. Is that not correct? Yeah. Well, even for employers, there are challenges. For organizations that use remote working now, they're experiencing a lot of challenges. Management challenges. It's more difficult to manage remote workforce. Communication challenges. How do you keep in touch with your members, right? And ensure that people are really connecting. It's a problem. It's a problem. When you say, okay, yes, let's have a meeting, and it becomes an excuse. Somebody says, you know what, my network just went off. And you start raising, you should have prepared yourself for this meeting. And then suddenly you that is stuck in your own network goes. Organizations are concerned about cyber risk. How safe is the internet that you're using? How safe is the network that you're using? How can we pass confidential information through that channel without having problems? These are issues that organizations are facing. There's also legal complications. This space is still evolving. Are we sure of the implications, the legal implications of asking people to work remotely? Safety issues. If anything should happen to anyone who is working from home, by the laws that we have in this country, organizations are liable. Because at the time that the person is working for you from home, that place that he or she is working from is your office. So you have to think about how that space represents your office and to make sure that there's safety there. So somebody can take us to court. There are technological challenges in building. I think somebody talked about collaboration, building, maintaining trust, and all kinds of things. There's also problems with accountability and transparency. So we have all kinds of problems. But let me share a few tips, right? If you're working remotely, set up the workspace, stay connected to each other, and also manage your time and well-being, right? Let's start with the first one. Set up your physical space. We have to be intentional about this. So within your house, wherever it is, create a space and designate that space as your office. It doesn't have to be a room. It can be, depending on the kind of accommodation that you have. But let's ensure that we make it safe and secure. Let's think about lighting. Let's think about furniture. What kind of chair are you using? Now we're talking about ergonomic furniture. Are we in tune with what is happening? That if you stay seated for a very long time and you're not using good furniture, do you know the impact that this may have on your back? And suddenly now, you may not be able to perform in the other room. Okay, is that not correct? So we must avoid some of these things. We must be very careful. I'm talking about the impact it may have on our health. So let's think about furniture, let's think about lighting, let's think about ventilation, minimize distraction and disruptions as much as we can. Let's find a place for equipment and materials. Yeah? We have to also think about ensuring that we have a good connection. So check your area. What is best in your area? What gives the best service in your area? Because we can't be giving the same excuse all the time. Especially when you have, a brand that you want to protect, which includes you as an individual. You're talking to someone in Canada. The first day you said, I had network issues. Second day you say, we have a power problem. You're creating problems for them, and after a while, they'll start asking themselves, why don't I look for someone in Ghana? So let's think about connection. What are you using in your place? I have IPNX. It's fiber optic. And I think it's more reliable. So because I also work from home, I'm looking for the most reliable. But some people may not have fiber optic. They may have, so what I'm saying, just think about it. Look at your options and find what is best, right? Let's think safe, be safe. Sometimes you have to mobile it. Like you need to go and pick up your child from school, right? Yeah. You should be able to do that. But think about how that will not disrupt your work. It's also important to think about the optics. What I've noticed is that most people turn off their cameras. And they give you excuses. Is that not true? We don't know what they do behind those cameras that are turned off. We don't know what they do behind those cameras. I insist always that when we have meetings and important meetings, everybody turn your camera on. Yeah? Everybody turn your camera on. But if you have made some arrangements and you know that you have good network, it shouldn't be a problem. So let's be intentional about creating that place. Then position your camera frame properly. so that you can project yourself the best way. There are people that I keep wondering, where are they inside this screen? Yeah? There are a few things that we must do. How do we stay connected to each other? The fact that we're working remotely means that we now have to work extra hard on communicating. So a few things we can do: communicate more often, make the space fun. We can also replicate the water cooler. You know what the water cooler is, right? That tatafo that you do when you go and pick water from the water dispenser in the corridor is the opportunity that you have to speak to a colleague, to ask them how they are doing. We can replicate that as a way of enhancing communication. Because when you're dispersed, you don't have that opportunity of running into people in that corridor to ask them a few questions. But there are digital ways that we can create water coolers when we don't have chats. Be intentional about communicating, right? We can be present and respectful. Use technology to improve collaboration. You can use technology. There are so many apps. The younger people are much in tune with these apps. You can use apps to ideate, to iterate ideas, and to collaborate. So let's think about how to improve that. Let's create digital events. Use virtual huddles. Huddles are, after some time, you just say, let's create a huddle for 10 minutes. So we just keep, everything together. Let's refresh and see if we're still on the same page. These are intentional things that we can do to ensure that we are communicating more effectively. All right? Manage your time and well-being. This is a problem. Most people cannot unplug from work. But because you start in the morning, you take your breakfast while you're working, you take your lunch at the same time on the table, you don't know when to call it, when to draw the line or where to draw the boundary. So we have to be intentional. Set expectations for your availability. Create boundaries. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. From this time to this time, I'm not available. I'm not available. Drop a message. Yeah? There are things that we can do that can enhance, our productivity. Focus on what is important. Don't forget to take breaks. Just like that. Okay. So how do we lead remote workforces? That's the hard part. Right? Now, it's the role of executives to provide resources. It's our role to enhance communication. As far as leadership is concerned, it's our role to build trust within the remote teams, to provide training and support for people who are struggling. It's also our responsibility to foster collaboration, to measure results. We must also think about how we can manage rewards and recognition. We must be the chief fun officers, creating fun, making it possible for people to enjoy, work. Am I making sense? Can I get one bam? Nobody has given me bam. Is it just one bam? Bam. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go back and start setting guidelines as leaders of teams. Let's set guidelines. Guidelines and processes that will underpin these essential areas of our business. Because we are managing remote workers, what are our guidelines for goal setting? We have to set goals. How do we set guidelines for recruitment so that one person does not get a job and another person is doing the job? Impersonation like this Oga talked about. That's very important. How do we measure results? How do we schedule tasks? We have to set guidelines. monitoring of remote working. That is also part of communication needs, safety and security, training and talent development. Those are the things that we have to work around. Technology, insurance, cybersecurity. These are leadership roles that we must assume as executives. Going back now, let's design processes, guidelines that will help people understand what to do, make clear what our expectations are. And let me show you a few things of what I mean. For example, when you're setting goals, you assist people to organize, their schedules, maybe through phone, video, so that these goals are aligned also to the vision of the organization or the mission that you have set for yourself. You also define the objectives and deliverables that you expect from them. Make it easy, for them by establishing time frames. This must be done within so and so time. We can also ask for reports, emailing to outline those expectations. Review from time to time, coach them, and repeat this on an ongoing basis. That is the way that we lead our teams, right? To success. For task scheduling, for example, this is something that can become very useful. For every hour that someone spends, is it relevant to the deliverable? So set the task. What do you want that person to do? What number of hours was spent doing that? And what was accomplished? Are we making sense? Yeah? Yeah. Also, establish communication standards. That's the role of leadership. For your meetings, establish standards. Are you going to have texting during meetings or not? Are people allowed to be pressing their phones while you're having meetings? Can they interrupt anybody? Set standards so that there's some kind of organization. Otherwise, we spend a lot of time at meetings and we don't achieve anything. So, must think about how to work around communication. Personal and non-available time. Define those areas clearly. Let's enhance teamwork by doing some of these things, right? Sometimes the team is not teaming. It's not teaming. And it's the role of leadership to ensure that the team teams, right? So we can do a whole lot in this area. Some ideas to boost morale of your team. I've talked about the water cooler. We can do a little bit of chat from time to time. Yes. Have you heard of Second Life? Anybody here? Second Life. Please Google it. Second Life. That is one interesting virtual reality entertainment that remote workers use. You go out and you hang out in space. You buy drinks for each other. You have games. You party. And it's so real. IBM is using it already. And so many other organizations. And it's as real as you can almost feel it. Those are kind of things that we can do. So if we have to lead effectively, from time to time, refresh your chatter. Ask yourself, do we still have a shared and meaningful purpose? With my team, is it still clear? What about specific and challenging goals? Is the role of the leader to create that? And what about clear roles? What about common and collaborative approach? And then also very essential is complementary skills. These are the things that will make our teams succeed. Are we together? Is that one? Is that one coming from, according to my son, from the bum of your belly? Yeah? All right. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, there are lots of benefits. There are benefits. So we're here, we're not going anywhere else. So we see all these benefits. We save money, we reduce commuting costs, fuel is non-expensive, lower stress, and all kinds of things. Even for the employer, there are benefits. For employer, there are benefits. And not just the employer, even for the society, there are benefits. We reduce accidents on the road. The pressure on the road comes down, right? Disease that, people just contract from entering buses. One chance, all kinds of things can be reduced. Yeah? This is also friendly for people who have disabilities. There are so many things that we can talk about here. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me end by welcoming you to the new world of work. Yeah? Can I play this video? The new world of work.
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen. The future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
So, you got it? You got it? If you don't get it, you forget about it. I think that this makes it very clear. We have to think about how we are moving from where we are. the future is in technology, but yet the bigger future is in transcending technology. So how do we prepare to move ahead, right? We are seeing a revolution in the workspace. Globalization is shaping our context, and so many things are changing. We need to now urgently begin to innovate, or we stay out of business. I want to emphasize that this is what tomorrow the workforce is going to look like. The workforce tomorrow is going to look like this. Some people will be in Australia, some people will be here, and they are collaborating without seeing each other. People who are going to do this, they are building their skills sets today. Those who are going to lead these teams are also building their skill set today. I know that we're going to be part of that process. Yeah? And we're going to do well. We're going to do well. Say that with confidence now. We're going to do very well. Very well. Huh? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's remember that the notion of one person achieving greatness is a myth. Nobody knows everything. Everyone knows something. And all that knowledge is embedded in networks. Is that a BAM? Is that a double BAM? Is a triple BAM? Is that right? So please remember that remote work is here. It's not going anywhere. We're here. We're here. We have to take advantage of remote work. We have to overcome those challenges. We have to reap the benefits that we have seen, because it's actually like killing two birds with one stone. I thank you for your attention, guys. I thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes. So do I have any questions?
Yeah, we can just take like 2 questions.
Yeah. So I can take 2 questions. Yes.
Thank you for the insightful session. I have a question. At my organization, we are trying to sell this remote work thing. However, there's the stakeholder buy-in is very low. So how do we attack that and get the stakeholder buy-in? Because, I mean, remote work is the future. So how do we attack this? Thank you.
I think that the best way to do is to make a business case for it. Data-driven. We can help you build up a data case. See, my numbers are here. Because you're here, I'm going to assist free of charge if there's anything I can do to support the ministry to move. Yeah? Am I making sense? Uh-huh. So I can send more resources, more resources to you in case you want to build up, your defense, your argument. Because you have to convince people that this is the way to go. And they must see that there is a business case for investing in this direction. Especially if you have big guys that are not interested in this technology movement and stuff. Yeah, it may be difficult. So you have to look at stakeholder engagement. So what I'm going to share with you may be more around how do you manage stakeholders? How do you address people who have interest and those who have influence? How do you deal with expectations? Yes, they said I can only take 2 questions, so okay. Yeah?
Thank you. Can you hear me? So ours is the reverse of what she said.
Yeah.
We've worked remotely for about 3.5 years, fully remotely.
Yeah.
And now we've had issues with staff saying technology, infrastructure. So we've moved back to the office, fully solar powered. And of course, invested in infrastructure in terms of internet as well. So the office is functional, but nobody wants to come to work, not even for a day. So that's a major challenge. So ours is the reverse. And we're willing to have a blend, but no one is coming. You've complained about infrastructure. Now the office is fully solar powered. A lot of investment, like a lot of investments. So that's a major challenge now that we're facing.
Yeah. So let me say, you see, every time that you want to change something, there must one thing that must be there as a constant is resistance. It is not easy to move from a comfort zone. And nobody wants to leave a comfort zone. So that when you want to change something, there's a simple formula that you can apply. Yeah? It means that the product of D and V and F must be greater than R for change to succeed. Did you understand what I just said? The sum of D and V and F must be greater than R for change to succeed. If I didn't bring this one now, you will not know that I'm a professor. So I must bring something that will confuse you small. So that when I say, Ogbu, you will increase this amount that you want to pay, he will say, with all pleasure, sir. So what am I saying in essence? For people to move, there must be dissatisfaction with the status quo. When they are happy with where the things are, they don't usually move. So you have to be intentional about creating dissatisfaction. It can be better. Yes, it's fine, but there is a better way of doing it. It's in your own interest. It's in my own interest. So how do you create dissatisfaction with the status quo? You have to reduce their comfort with how things are currently running by creating a vision of what things can be better. So when there's dissatisfaction with status quo, then present a vision of how it can be better. Where we are going, because they must see their own interest inside that change. They must see their own interest. Even when they are seeing organizational, people are so self-centered that they're always thinking about themselves. Especially in Nigeria, we feel so entitled. We are not interested in responsibility or obligations. It's just our right. This is our right. This is our right. So there must be a vision, and that vision must include benefits for them. Then having developed this, you have to start small. What we call the first step. So the first one is satisfaction. The second one is vision. The third one is small steps. How do you start to move? What are the low-hanging fruits that we can start doing, and celebrating and encouraging that movement? Because it's usually resistance. So for these things to happen, it means that the sum of all these things must be greater than that resistance to the change, because that resistance is always a constant. The reasons why people resist is because they are afraid of losing privileges. Maybe they were not so informed about what are the prospects for tomorrow. They are not seeing the purpose. They are not seeing the plan. They are not seeing their path, and are not convinced about the picture. But I can provide more information later. Yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, can I love you and leave you? Yeah? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.